So let me get rid of this starting point so that we can doesn't mess up.
And while Dan is doing that, I just wanted to remind everyone that this meeting will be recorded. We want to be able to share this out on group site for folks that are not able to attend. Thank you.
Thank you, Christian. Yep. And Christian, if you can be admitting people in the background, that would be terrific. Thank you. So we have about 50 to 55 minutes together today, and we have this new team that's going to be starting at the beginning of March, answering phone calls for you and responding to emails. We have Lillian Quintanilla here, who's the team manager. Lillian, I don't know if you got my little instant message to you a few minutes ago, asking if you wanted to be the one to share the talking points that I have pasted below about the CP team. And really the hope today is that we can start this communication between these two teams, and the dedicated CP team or the CP focus team has not worked with CPs before. And so I think that they're going to really appreciate hearing your voices. And then I'm hoping that after hearing your voices, they will have some questions for you. So I'd like Lillian to start out in just a minute by introducing herself and her team in any way that she would like. And then we're going to invite community partners to come off of mute and share your experience a little bit. You can say, you can tell a story about working with a client, of course, no personal information. Working with a client where your access to eligibility staff made a difference for that person or their family. You can talk about how eligibility workers help you do your work in general, or you can share something that you want this team to know about what you do and the folks that you're serving. And those are general, doesn't have to be specific, but we want to get your voices as community partners. And then we're going to open it up for the CP Focus team to ask questions of you. So how does that sound for an agenda? All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming together today. I feel like this is the beginning of an ongoing relationship that we're really looking forward to. So thank you, Lillian. I'm going to turn it over to you for a few minutes, if that's all right.
All right, good morning. Thank you, Diana, for putting this meeting for these two teams.
Your audio is very
Let me see.
challenging.
Sounds like you're in a stadium.
Ah. All right, let me double check in. Is that still the same?
I think you have a little bit of maybe an echo or a duplication. Are you also on a phone? Are you connected through two different microphones?
No, I was on a Teams meeting for a little bit, but I left that meeting.
Oops. Didn't realize there was a Teams meeting. Sorry. It's
He-
default.
He's on a stage.
It sounds, yes. Well, I think, does anybody have suggestions for Lillian's audio, or should we just live with it?
Lillian, if you click on the little caret next to the mute button,
Mhm.
and then you can select a speaker, and
I have it under speaker.
That
you sound
sounds
much better now.
It does. I think you're good to go.
It's good.
Better.
All right. I'm back. No, I was just want to say thank you for putting this meeting together. I think it is a good opportunity for us or teams to meet and hear, a little bit different stories and introduce each other. I know Diana put some as you all know, starting March, this team will be on the phone system to answer CP calls and work through the email. And Diana, it's your plan. I was on another meeting. I did not see your read the whole message, but do you want us to go over these talking points, or as we go, we mentioned?
Yeah. Well, I think these are the basic talking points, right? So I thought we could just start with some of the basic details about the phone system.
Okay.
Or the plan.
Okay, no, that sounds good. So we will be, as you know, we did a soft launch, and I don't know if any of the CPs that are here today experience any of that. We did that a couple of days last week. And so I think from some of the feedback that I received from HSS3s, HSS1s, they were able to communicate with some of the CPs that call that those a specific queue. So they were really happy to be able to serve them and you know, in a different way, that they don't have to be waiting for an hour or two in the phone line. So that was really nice to hear. So this team, we've been together since 2020. We started as a SNAP HSS 3s, and then 17 of them. And then we moved to process all the programs. Then a little bit more than a year ago, we got offered to be a specialized team. And we did that with the LTC. So we've been doing that live since August last year, but this team, it's been on training and doing different type of long-term services since March last year. So a little bit, a year almost there. So the next thing, let me see.
Lillian, I would love to interject and just say that because you've been doing that long-term care eligibility, we know that your team is very skilled with the non-Magi benefits. So for any community partners who are working with clients who are 65 plus or disabled and might be eligible for those non-Magi benefits, the OSIP-M and others, this is going to be an especially skilled team for the folks that you're working with. And we're really excited about that part. So hopefully I has bought you a minute to look over the talking points, Lillian.
Okay, thank you. Liana. All right, so the next thing is and with that, you know, we've been talking about that specific subject about you know, the non-Magi. Yes, you know, it's part of the medical program. We'll continue to do that. We're still talking and having conversations with OEP central office about potentially be able to remove the authorization part of our HSS3s, but we're having more conversations on that, Diana, and I think you remember a little bit what we talked about it last time.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's that there. So this right now the team is consistent of 16 HSS3s, 2 HSS1s and lead, and myself, but I am hiring for one more HSS3 that I just got approved for that. So we'll be a total of 17 HSS3s when we are full staff.
And I think for those, because community partners don't necessarily know our distinctions between eligibility workers, it's human service specialist level 3, and that's the highest level of eligibility worker before you become a lead. And so this whole team is HSS3s, which is amazing, and we are very grateful.
Thank you. So then you put about there will be a separate team. Yes, the AP technical support, that will be a separate team, and they will continue to assist you with any the technical part of that. That is not this team, has Diana put in there. The CP phone will continue to be the same, the 888-865-0525. And then CP will hear, yes, so the recordings, will hear a recording telling you how many calls ahead of you. And this, just to add that this calls will be recorded, so for quality services. Okay. Callbacks. CP will be offered on this line to call back minimum to wait assistance for 15 minutes. Call back for the team will max 25 in the queue at time. So I mean, we do have, you know, we're still trying to create a process that we know that we're gonna be receiving, in the email, your information to fully process these cases, these medical cases. So, you know, the plan is that at least we, you know, depending on availability, we'll have, you know, the majority of the HSS3s working on the phone, but we also are planning to have a few of our HSS3s working on that inbox, on that queue, to make sure that we take care of that pending or receiving information that you are sending to that email. Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, thank you. Anything else, Lillian, that you want to say before we open it to community partners to share?
I would like to see if any of our HSS3s are willing and want to share anything. Or HSS1s. I know my two HSS1s are working on a really nice process that we are gonna be sharing with the rest of the team this afternoon. So to make sure that we take care of the information that you all sent to the inbox. We're trying to figure out, I met with Diana, with Renee too from OEP workflow to see if we can upload it into the system. And hopefully we can work it that way, but still in the process, so more to come on that.
Thank you. Yeah, are there any folks from your team who want to say anything?
Anyone? No, they quiet.
Well, that's
I-
okay. Oh,
Oh, I heard something.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
gonna say I am excited to start working with you guys. I haven't really worked with a lot of CPs except for a few cases in the past, and they've always been really nice and very friendly. So I'm excited personally. So hopefully we can serve you guys, you know, well, and you guys, can reach out if you guys have any other questions or any questions, I should say.
And I think for I would just like to know what has worked for the CPs, what has not worked, and any, like Deanna was saying earlier, any information, any feedback that would benefit them once we hear from them, and getting to know them a little bit better, so then that we get to know each other and just learn how we can better serve them.
yeah, and thank you for saying that, Jessica. I think today, for me, we might have questions from community partners for the CP focus team. And I'm going to save those for the end if we have time. Today is a lot more about community partner, the CP focus team learning about the community partners and your work. So we will get all of your questions answered for sure. But let's, if there's anybody else from the CP focus team who wants to say anything or say hello, we'll do that. And then we'll move to some community partners doing exactly what Jessica mentioned, which is talking about your work and how the eligibility teams help you do that.
I could say something. I just last week I thought it was really neat. When I thought of community partners, I thought of like, I don't know, not at schools, but the one that I talked to, she was with a school. So I thought that was really neat, just learning about more what community partners do. And she was new to it, and I was new with helping community partners. So we kind of walked ourselves together doing the 6610, but it worked out really well. And so I feel like it's going to be exciting to learn a new process with you guys. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Agarré el de Juan de la Mora, Lilian Quintanilla. Lilian Quintanilla fue la que, como la encargada de la líder del team. Susan García. Mira.
Oops. And so if you're not speaking, it'd be great if you can mute. We actually are coordinating a meet and greet for some of our Spanish speaking CPs. and our Spanish speaking eligibility workers. I think, Lillian, you have 8 Spanish speakers on your team? No, more than that.
5 a las 8. Si hablamos outside of those
Bianca, I muted you.
Yeah, well, no, I think 8, right? 8 eligibility workers plus both of your support staff are Spanish speakers and yourself.
That's correct.
Right. So a lot of Spanish language abilities on your team, which is terrific. And so there is going to be a meet and greet for Spanish speaking community partners and Spanish speaking staff. And I don't know what the date is yet. We have 2 folks on our team coordinating with Lillian to make that happen. So stay tuned. And let's see, I think I'm going to open it up now to any community partners. We have 3 prompts that I can share again on my screen for a minute, but I will put them into the chat. I'll share them for a minute and then I'll take them down and put them in the chat. So are there any community partners who would like to share maybe a case example, general ways that eligibility staff help you do your work, or what you want the team to know?
Hey, Deanna. I also have a list of questions. I don't know when you want to talk about those, but I'm tracking that.
Right. So it's lists of questions that community partners are asking of the CP focus team, right?
That's right.
Right. We're going to save those to the end.
Perfect.
I want to spend that. We can always get those answered later and send them out. This is really about the new team learning about the community partner work. And we can't do it. We might not be able to do it all in our time. So I'm prioritizing that. But thank you for tracking those, and we'll come back to them if we have time at the end. All right, so I'm going to ask any community partners to raise their hand if they would like to share answers to any of these prompts or anything else you'd like to say. Doesn't need to be limited to that. And I think I will stop my share because then you can see people's faces better, and I can type the prompts into the chat. And I see Hannah's hand open. Hannah, oh, there you are.
Hi.
Am I getting your name right? Please correct me.
Yeah, Tana, like Montana. Hi, everybody. I am Tana. I work at Whitebird Clinic. I have been a CP. I just call myself an sister at Whitebird Clinic for 6 years now. An experience of working with a client where my access to eligibility staff made a difference. I can think of probably 1,000 different cases. I would say one that sticks out is probably a family that had come to see me whose coverage had ended through a previous employer. And one of the family members needed a really important surgery that Slocum needed to get approval for within like a certain time frame, and it was pretty short. And so I had applied for the whole family, and they were hard pended, so I had called to get them approved or get them through, and they were approved within 4 hours of me speaking to an eligibility worker, and that person was able to get their surgery. And then I think another person in that family was able to get an important prescription. But I see cases like that constantly where the help of an eligibility worker made a huge difference. How do eligibility workers help you do your work? I couldn't do my work as efficient without eligibility workers, probably at all. I have a day every week that I spend 8 hours on the phone with y'all. I take all my pending cases or case questions or anything, and I just throw it all into a day. And then what do you want this team to know about what you do? Oh gosh, I don't know. I do a lot of really cool outreach. So I go to like the rural areas, Oak Ridge, Florence, Cottage Grove, and I have a primarily focus on the unhoused population because it's what Whitebird Clinic does. And I hand out survival gear and harm reduction supplies And yeah, I really love that part of my job. And that's it. Thank you for letting me talk.
Thank you. And you don't all need to answer all three. In fact, I'd say, pick one that you really want to speak to or two. But if you can start, I just realized, by saying who you are, who you work with, and where you're located, that would be great. The next person I saw the hand up was Tara, and then Vixen. So Tara Miller. Who's looking for their mute button. All right, Tara, we're going to come back to you. I'm going to hand it over to Vixen.
Then I had to find my mute button. I am Vixen Radford Wex, and I work for Northeast Oregon Network, or NEON, and I am located in Wallowa County. I have been doing this work for 16 years. Before we had actually open enrollment. It's like when they had the lottery to get adults on OHB. So I have seen the work without a CP line, with a CP line, and again now without a CP line. And I am so excited about this. I want to thank you all for making this possible and for all being willing to do this. Without workers and being able to have that connection to this line for us, it is a huge barrier. As Tana was saying, we have to literally block out a day of seeing clients or helping people or even answering our phones or emails because we're trying to get through. And then when we do get through, the hope of getting somebody who can help us process, because usually for me, when I'm making that call, it's a case that really needs help or it's urgent or something like that. So it's not like I just call on all of them. It's just the ones that are probably urgent or have a glitch or something. So that making that call seems daunting. Like right now, it's just awful. Like I hate it. And then I work in a really remote area. So like we have low income, but we have mixed households. So we have households that parents say will be on a QHP and kids on an OHP, and then parents' incomes will change and then we have to try to move them over. So we end up with a lot of flip-flop. We have a lot of seasonal employment or flexing employment. So it's really hard to put it in the little boxes in the one application. So having a community partner like your guys selves to help us is huge. So thank you again so much.
Right. I know Tara was having a hard time getting off of mute. She was saying that, or Tana was saying that, oh wait, now I'm mixing up names.
Sandra also have her hand up.
Yeah, you mean Tara?
Cassandra.
Cassandra.
Oh, thank you. I couldn't see that. Great, Cassandra, thank you.
Yeah, my name is Cassandra Ramey, also go by CJ. I am a community partner with Confederated Tribes of Grand Health and Wellness Center. I have the sorry.
Hey everyone, just wanted to remind you that if you're not talking, please go on mute. Go ahead, Cassandra.
Anyhow, I have the distinct pleasure of having been exactly in your shoes about 7 years ago. I worked as an Oregon Health Plan processor for about 2 years before I came out here and switched over to doing community partners. So I've been on both sides of that coin, so I know what you guys deal with. The experiences of working with a client, I had one just last night. I had a DV, a client who managed to get to a friend's house, needed to go to urgent care for care, but did not have any insurance at all. And so her friend attempted to help her go through the one system to apply, and they messed it up and somehow ended up applying for SNAP and got denied. So they called me and we were having problems getting into the system because we already had a case, but CPs don't have access to SNAP. We only have access to medical. And it wouldn't let me attach to that case to make any changes. So we had to contact customer care to get that changed around so that we can get access. So, I mean, it really can be, you know, that's one of the beauties of one is that you have immediate access to care after you get that eligible. So, yeah, eligibility workers are great, you know, things like name misspellings and incorrect date of birth. And, you know, it's just those little weird things. Yeah, I had a kid once that, you know, somehow we had to go through the entire application to find this, but somehow mom had put this 3-year-old kid as a, filing single with no dependents. And because it was separated from the case, despite the age, he ended up denied for benefits because of the income. And this was a kid with really, really special medical needs. And so we couldn't, we just had to change things around. So, I mean, you guys are absolutely important to this process.
Thank you. There are 2 other questions that some of the folks from the CP Focus team put into the chat that community partners can also respond to. And so I'm just going to throw them out there, and I'm posting them in the chat again, just so that they're handy. What are some of the challenges that community partners face when trying to get benefits for Oregonians? And there were some answers in the chat as well. Other than long wait times and queue, what are the challenges? So I think it's a duplicate question. So I'm going to open it up. Cassandra, your hand is still up. Okay. Wasn't sure if you had something else to add. Are there any other community partners who would like to chime in and answer any of the questions? Come on, there's a lot of you guys here.
Don't be shy.
Well, and I see your hand up. Maybe. Nope, that was just you talking.
Yeah, I was just saying not to be shy.
Yeah. I would love, I think the CP team would love to hear about your daily experience. What does your work look like?
I do have a question. I did raise my hand, or maybe it wasn't showing.
You weren't showing, or it's hard for me to see it, so thank
Yeah, maybe it wasn't. So I was just wondering, I'm reading the chat and then I see Angelica Godinez mentioned something about connecting with workers that sometimes are not able to help. And I was just wondering, you know, what was like a scenario where, you know, they called and then the worker wasn't able to help, and like what weren't they able to help with? Just curious.
Hi there. So there's been a couple of experiences. Usually people at least try to connect with their lead and then reach back out, but there's been a couple of instances where they won't even offer to do that. One scenario that comes to mind was, I think it was probably a couple years ago now, it was around income. They were trying to say that I think it was money that somebody had invested in counts as income, even though it wasn't like anything that they were receiving yet. It was a possibility for the future that they would receive a payment from that investment, but it didn't count as income. I ended up calling again and speaking to somebody else, and they were able to confirm that that specific type of account, I guess, didn't actually count as income. There was a name for it, but I can't remember what it was. So like stuff like that.
But really understanding the ins and outs of some of the more complex income situations. And I think when over the past 3.5 years, community partners, when they call, they get any eligibility worker, including folks who are new. And that can be really challenging because oftentimes community partners are working with some of the most complex cases. So to call and have this, 50 or more % chance, I don't know what it is, of getting somebody who's a lot less experienced, has been a real challenge, because as we all know, it takes years, I think, to really learn eligibility.
Yeah, and I can, as a CP, I can totally understand when we call about something really complicated that they can't help us with, but when they're like pushing back and just really not trying to be helpful, I think that's when it gets really frustrating.
Yeah.
Well, this time around, we're going to have a lead specifically to help us answer your questions if we don't have the answer. So Ben is really, really good. And
he's
I am
amazing.
very, very comfortable getting answers from him.
Great. All right, and I'm going to read something from Megan. I'm looking forward to working with eligibility workers for non-Magi eligibility clients. I work with a lot of patients who are Medicare eligible, and the required interview is always difficult to get completed. Especially for patients who are homeless, and we have no way to contact them once they walk out the door. I think that's definitely something that we're discussing. We don't know right now what that non-Magi interview options will be. But we know that that's a big barrier, and we're working on what to do about it. I see Tana and Vixen's hands up. I want to make sure that, and Susan, because Susan hasn't spoken, I'm going to call on you first.
Oh, hi, I'm Susan Garcia, at the Community Health Centers of Lane County. I'm sorry, they're doing demolition next to me. And right now, a lot of the problems or difficulties that we're experiencing is all around people ending, but they're still active and their cases are closed, and getting workers to make changes. A lot of them are just saying, no, they need to reapply, but they're still active. And even after they end and they have the 90-day reconsideration period, a lot of workers don't know about that and are not willing to ask, or if they ask a lead and the lead tells them, nope, they need to reapply. And so that's a lot of the difficulties we're dealing out with right now during the redetermination period. And then member matches is a big one. A lot of workers don't know what they are, or they don't know how to clear them correctly. That makes the process like an hour long to do the whole application all over again with the worker over the phone. Or they say, oh yeah, it's cleared, you can finish. And they don't understand, we've already submitted the application. There's nothing we can do from here. So those are the two main things that we deal with right now.
Does Lillian, or does anybody from Lillian's team want to ask any follow-up questions about that?
I can answer that. Yeah, actually, we have been working on the mismatch a lot. And a lot of times it is confusing for new people because sometimes it opens a new case. So then we have two cases with the individuals on it. And then it'll say he's on this other case. So it's really, really important. The social security number could be off or a number. And so a lot of times if I search in our systems for the social security number or anything like that, I can come up and clear it. And I think a lot of people don't understand that even a date of birth or any of that will throw it off. Then you got to go through and find the perfect match. Then it goes through. I had a lot of them that I do too. You guys will call in, I'll take all your information, then I'll call you back because I know you guys are very busy on what you guys are doing. And so that kind of helps with you guys, I think. But yeah, I think that was the big mismatch. There is a lot and we've been working on them.
Thank you. Angeles. Wait, sorry, I'm a little bit, I don't know the whole CP focus team yet. So Angeles, are you from the team or are you a CP?
I'm on Lillian's team.
Great.
Sorry.
Claudette, I know that you're on that Lillian's team. Woohoo!
Yes, I knew
Sorry,
that. I was
Deanna.
talking about Angeles Padilla, whose hand is up right now. So I'm going to call on Angeles next.
We'll all know each team's in no time.
We will.
100%.
In fact, Maria Vargas and I on our team are thinking about some ways to help with that.
John, would you like to introduce yourself to the group in case they don't know who you are? While we wait
Yes,
for
I'm
Angeles.
Deanna Simon. I'm John McDade. I use he, him as pronouns. I am the CPOP manager. It's nice to see all of you. And I know I've said it 100 times, but for our community partners who are here, I'm so delighted that we have this community partner focused team to be able to work with and support the work that you're doing. And we're all going to learn together, and we're just going to have really work in true partnership. And I know that gets thrown around a lot, but I genuinely mean it. All right, let's go.
Yeah. Are there any-
Hey, how are you?
Good.
It's nice to see you. I like your backdrop, by the way. All right, sorry.
All right. I thought I saw a hand up from Angeles, but now I don't see where they are. So
You hear me, Deanna?
I can. Terry, you got your
Yay!
microphone
I don't
on.
know what was going on there. And I would love to be on camera, but I've been sick and I don't want to scare everybody. But I just wanted to say my name is Tara Miller and I work for Road Community Health in Ashland, and I've been a CP for about 7 years. So I was around when the previous CP line was going on. And it was amazing. And I'm looking forward to building those relationships with all of you. And almost starts to feel like a coworker, friend. When you talk to somebody, you recognize their voice and you know them right away. And I don't know how to explain it, but it just makes the whole process easier. I look forward to learning together. And I think the CP email is going to be amazing and very helpful as well. So I look forward
that learning together is really important. I think we're all giving the new team a lot of grace as they're learning how to do the phones and coordinate the phone and the email and work with community partners, which is a new body of work for most of them. So we have lots and lots of grace for that learning process. I do see, Shelley, you were saying in the chat that member matches have always been frustrating and that workers also get frustrated with the one system too. I don't know if you wanted to say anything else about that.
Well, just that, we know that like with income, I know a lot of times when people call in and CPs call in, we know the income screen is confusing on your side of it. And it's a lot easier for us to fix. And we have times when one is slow and we have you on the line. We just can't get to the screen we need to get to. So, and like Claudette said, member matches are always challenging because you can't see if someone has other types of benefits. And common thing I found was when I worked with CPs was they would put in a name and maybe one has the maiden name or the married name, and you have something's just not quite matching up. Maybe they go by they're putting in their middle name as their first name because they go by that. And that's what kind of triggers one, and then you're stopped because one won't let you proceed. Or CP will go through and create a new person with the wrong information. And then we have to go through and merge the new person with the old snap case. And that's usually a big thing.
Yeah, we're aware it's very labor intensive.
But yeah, so that's always been, I've been in one since it started in 2020. And yeah, member matches have always been just something you kind of have to deal with.
Yep. Right, I'm not seeing any new hands up at the moment, but Vixen, you wrote in the chat that finding applications once you've completed and then you call and then nobody can find them. And along with that, the difference from pending agency review, worker review, and completion of application process. So do you want to say any more about that?
I guess just going to the point of like we'll do an application and we hit submit and it doesn't give us a case number. And so then we'll call in and wait, and then we'll get a sister to help us and on the CP line, and the CP's like, well, we can't find this. And then once they find it, they're ask us all the same questions we've already answered, but the odds that we still have that community member sitting here are very slim and we don't remember all the answers to their questions. And then there's questions that you guys see on their side that we don't necessarily always see on our side. So our screens do look a little bit different, but I have had a lead help us here in Wallowa County that has said, oh, well, tell them to go to this and find this. And it feels like sometimes we are trying to help those community, you guys that are the CP line help. We're trying to help them. So it'll be nice to have you guys that kind of are more like seasoned, that know how to help us, because we don't necessarily know always what we're asking, but but we know that we're trying to get something to process that isn't. So, and then once we do complete it, we'll often see on the main screen, it'll give us one of those 3, and yet sometimes it's the exact same thing for all of it. So, and I don't know if that's something that you guys have system issues on that backside, but yeah, we'll see it says, pending agency review or pending completion of application process. And I've kind of learned those might be the same thing. But yeah.
Anybody from the CP team want to?
Have her hand up. Iris,
Oh,
go ahead.
yes. Thank you, Lillian. Thank you. I did want to speak a little bit about that, Vixen. I did help a couple of community partners, and they had that same issue you were talking about. And when I went in there and asked, do you have a case number? They said, no, I don't have a case number. So I went ahead and asked them for the application number. I don't know if all the community partners are aware that if there's not a case number created for the client, you do have an application number. And 2 of those community partners are like, an application number? Wait, hold on, let me go back and look. And they just kind of went and looked through, whatever their screens, and they were able to find that application number. And I was able to locate the application and then, go through everything else with them. But I was kind of surprised that they didn't know they had an application number. So maybe, at some point we failed to ask for the application number, and then we just went through and created everything. And then, or maybe, and the community partner didn't know they had one. I don't know if that's something, is that common that they don't know that there's an application number being created instead of a case number?
In the beginning, yes, when somebody's still learning how the system works, and then over time they figure it out. But I love what you were doing, Iris, where you can help educate and fill in the community partner about how to look for what you need. And then of course, next time they call, it will be that much easier. And I really see that there's going to be a lot of this co-learning. And because you're this team that really understands what community partners are grappling with, and understand that sometimes when they're new, that they might need some coaching, if you can take that time, it will make the whole system work better as we go forward. So thank you for doing that.
I'll go ahead. Sorry, I was just going to say it's also nice to make sure that we get the phone numbers from the CPs so we can do the callbacks in case the calls are dropped. So I usually ask right away what's a good callback number. I know that helps a lot with everything because phones can drop easy. And so then we can call you back and try to get the issue resolved or the cases.
You have a lot of community partners doing the happy dance, hearing that right now.
Diana, Shelley, and then I don't want to say her name incorrectly. Antia, it's next.
Thank you.
I was just gonna say real quick, tagging on what you said, when we did those sessions with breakout rooms with different CPOP people, that was one of the questions was how do you think it'll be with like the newer, how will you understand, we'll present you with a new person? And like I said to them at the time, I can't think about anybody on my team that wouldn't give them a good experience, or that if I was in your position, I wouldn't mind handing off, you know, maybe a greener person who just doesn't know and having them work with them.
Great. I want to make sure that we have time. Who is the next person? And then I really want to make sure that Lillian, your team has a chance to ask any specific questions.
Who was the, it
Uh,
disappeared from my screen.
Yep,
Sorry.
there you go. Go ahead. You're next.
Hi, it was me. My name is Inje. So it's Inje. I'm so happy to be here and meeting you all. So now you know my name and I call you guys. I really appreciate the Claudette, I hope I said your name right, about asking for callback number, because this is my 6th year being a sister, and I work for Asian Health and Service Center, and I mostly serve Korean speaking community members. I think maybe there were about 2 cases that actually CP Line asked the callback number, because sometimes even I ask, like, may I give you callback number just in case? And usually they said they cannot call back. So I'm so happy to hear that now I can ask for it. I'm just so excited. My heart is like about to burst, and I'm just so nervous to see you all. And thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Inja. All right. I want to make sure Lillian's team has a chance to ask questions of community partners directly. So is there anybody who wants to chime in?
Well, yeah, this is not a question, but I just want to put out there that I appreciate that you guys appreciate us being able to help out. This is my 2nd stint helping the public. I used to work with the federal government with Social Security, and of course it's another dinosaur, the way they do things, but just being able to help out and then showing the emotion that you guys have, you know, just looking at it, you know, seeing that you guys are excited that you guys are going to be able to further help people, and even better by us being available to you. It's, you know, sometimes it gives me goosebumps. I'm not going to say it does now. Maybe it does. Maybe I'm weird that way, but
Giving
yeah.
me goosebumps. This is a big deal.
Yeah, but I, you know, I've been helping people out for several years, and this is why I do it.
Thanks, Juan. And Juan, what was your previous role that you bring to the experience that you bring here?
Oh, I work for Social Security. I retired from Social Security. So any questions, you can just route them my way. I'll answer them.
Oof, be careful what you invite.
For a small fee. No, just kidding.
So, Jessica, I just want to follow up real quick with Angie and Claudette. They were talking about the callback, since I wanted to get advantage that CPs are here now. Do you prefer that you provide all that information to our team, to the HSS3s, and then have them call you back instead of you staying on the phone with them? As long as you provide all the information, and they can kind of call you back to report out. So this is what we did with the cases that you requested help. Or do you have like a preference? Like,
Not necessarily about a callback. It's the fact that unfortunately disconnects are getting more common with the phone lines being as overwhelmed as they are. So we want to make sure that we're giving that information right away in case we do get disconnected, so that we can be called back.
so since right now we're thinking that won't, be happening that much. If it gets disconnected, they will try to, to get your information, your phone number and all that. And so calling you back, but let's say that you connect with the HSS3s and then provide all the information for the cases. Do you want to stay on hold while they do all their work? Or do you mind if they call you back instead of saying, okay, for example, I'm gonna put Digna in the spot because I have her right there. I can see her. So you tagged to Digna and then you said, okay, I'm providing you this information for 3 different applications that I processed, and these are the issues that I'm running with. And so Digna is gonna take these 3 applications, but it's gonna take probably, you know, like depending how one system is working that day. If it's a little slow, it might take 30 minutes. If it's a little bit, you know, faster, it can take, you know, 20 or depending. So do you all prefer to stay on that call while Digna's processing these cases? Or do you prefer to probably move on to your next cases or next appointments that you're gonna be seeing, and then allow Digna to process that and provide her a good time to get connected back with you? Did that make sense? Did that was?
Yeah, I really think that it's situation specific, but like, I mean, I can't answer for anybody else, but I prefer when I call, it's usually something simple that I need fixed right away. So I want to stay on the call to make sure that it's taken care of. If it's a complicated situation, absolutely, I don't mind being called back, especially if the system is having issues or if I'm just completely overwhelmed. That's not an issue.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I just had a comment about that. Maybe something that an approach you could take with your team, Lillian, is having be part of the beginning of the call, asking the community partner who's calling how they would prefer to handle that call. And that way there's not a blanket policy for everyone who calls. That could be an idea.
Yep. All right, well, we just have about 3 minutes left.
Jessica had her hand up. I'm sorry. I think it was Jessica. And
It's okay. Yeah, I did. I just wanted to maybe give some words of comfort because I am reading in the chat and there's a lot of that they get told they're going to call back and then they don't receive a call back. I know from experience and just hearing my coworkers is that a lot of the times me personally, I like to say like, can I give you a call back? And then maybe I'll give them like a first time frame. I'll call you back before like my lunch by noon just to keep you updated. And if it's towards the end of the day, I do say if I don't hear or if you don't hear back from me by the end of the day, then I'll call you first thing in the morning, just that follow up, just to make sure in case we are running into some technical difficulties and things like that. And I've also heard that from Oregonians, and they are very like eerie as well as letting us go because they're like, well, I won't receive a phone call back. But I know just a little comfort for you guys that I've heard my teammates and I have seen them that they do follow through with the phone calls. So I hope that fear kind of goes away from you guys because I don't like to hear that. And I know my other teammates also don't like to hear that. So hopefully moving forward, we can kind of move that fear off to the side and gain your guys' trust with that.
I do, yeah, and I think something that Christian was just mentioning, I think it's worth us talking about or just mentioning, is that community partners, we need to be able to give a callback that, you know, if there's an extension number, you need to include that, or hopefully you have a direct line that you can give them to call back. So I think, and that's just going to be a learning process, right? We're going to be in communication with this team so that if they're getting a lot of phone numbers and trying to call people back and it's not working, they're going to let us know. And then we'll come back to community partners and say, hey, let's make an adjustment here about what this is, about what this looks like. Any last words from anyone that's here before we conclude?
Could I just say, I think it would be kind of reassuring to the community partners if I just gave you like the calling script, answering script that we're kind of working on. Just real quickly, we're gonna say when you answer our call, we answer now, our thing is, thank you for calling the Oregon Department of Human Services Community Partners line. This is Shelley. Before we continue, may I get your name as well as a good callback number in case we get disconnected?
Perfect, I love it. Thank you. All right.
Deanna, I have a request, direct message, a couple of them that people want to see a magic trick, but I only want to do a magic trick in closing if I can close it out with seeing if we can't achieve something incredible here. Is that all right?
Absolutely.
All right, I'm going to close folks out here. Here's the truth, is that we are attempting a partnership here that is going to be challenging at times. I believe when faced with things that seem extremely challenging, that when we set our mind to it, we can actually achieve something that's impossible. Now I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. The 2 of diamonds, I'm just going to save time. That is the chosen card. I'm going to put the 2 of diamonds back into the deck. And then I'm just going to cut this a whole bunch of times, lose it in the deck. Here is the deal. Lillian, as the, and I should show like a bunch of cards are different. Let me cut a couple more times. Lillian, as the fearless leader here in the group, you are tasked with something that's very, very difficult and challenging, and making things work. I want you to have me stop on any card along the way to the one that you think is the 2 of diamonds. Now I'm going to maybe try to help you, like 7, 24, 13, 6. Maybe that'll might help you. But at any point, if you want, you just say stop, and I'm going to put my finger down on a card, but only when you feel like it is the 2 of diamonds.
Stop.
Right here?
Yes,
This card right here.
yeah,
I can move one left, one right if you want me to.
no,
That's it. So folks can see I'm not like doing anything fun. I've got one card here. I'm going to move it forward. I'm going to set it right there. I'm going to turn these cards over. All right. So folks can see the cards. I don't know if you can see that very well on there, but I don't see the 2 of diamonds here, because the impossible task that we have sometimes is possible if we just all focus our attention. And you stopped right on the 2 of diamonds. And again, you can look to the deck here. There's no like extra 2s.
John, you
anywhere.
can't hear it, but there's a roaring applause.
All right.
I can tell.
Good. Good. Yeah.
We love, John, thank you. That is perfect. I feel like we are moving into this era of really creating some magic together. So that is a perfect segue to the rest of our relationship and this big project. We'll send out anyway. You'll be hearing more about this, and I just want to thank everybody for coming together, sharing your experience, and listening.
thank you, everyone, and I just want to say, as Jessica, I think it was amazing words that Jessica said, be patient with us as we work through, and trust that our team will call you back. I think they will follow up with your calls, with your concerns, and either email or a call, whatever your preference is, they will make sure to do that for you. Thank you again. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone. Go do some magic.
I like your magic, John.
It's your magic, not mine. It is your magic. I did nothing. You picked the card, so I literally didn't have to do anything. Just thank God you picked the right card. Oh my God.
Okay.
We all have magical superpowers.
Exactly.
Johns
Sometimes
are
we don't.
infallible.
Yep.
Thank you so much, you all.
You betcha. All right. See you guys. Good seeing you. See you, Jennifer.